Okay, so usually when I'm doing Kut Keto, like exploring a recipe, um, with Kut Keto, I'll probably just do a separate video about what Kut Keto is, or I'll just ramble about it here. Who knows? We'll see. 50% almond flour is both the goal and the limit. For palatability, tastiness, and texture, it's like you just don't want to add more than that. In general, I mean, you might be able to add more and stuff like that, and not have it be like a crumbly, cornbread cake that's just not as satisfying and happy as cornbread. But also, in terms of low carbing it, 50 or half almond flour or half that cutting agent is going to be the best bet, because the more you can cut it without sacrificing taste and texture, or making the taste and texture different but still nice, means the more you can eat, the more filling it's going to be, so you're not going to eat that much in the first place. You're going to be able to get that low carb thing in while also having a nice bready treats and stuff. And this is not for people who are therapeutic. Well, it depends on what you consider therapeutic. So I'm at 150 carbs a day, because I nurse. So, I mean, I get the same keto effects. At this point, I've lost all the baby weight, in a little, like a year and a couple of months. But I'm also operating like an athlete, that's why my carb level is much higher than normal. And a lot of times, I think sometimes not everybody needs to do that really hardcore keto. Maybe when you're first losing weight and stuff like that, that's one thing, or even just to get you into the system of keto in the first place, and then you tweak it from there. Because at one point I was on the 20 carbs, and I figured out what worked, what didn't work. And, you can start, fudging and not cheating, but just kind of adapting it. Because I had to adapt it for nursing, because I'm like, 20 carbs isn't going to cut it. Because, like, I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to kill the supply and stuff like that. So you have to, but because you already know how your body operates on keto, how keto works, what you can and can't eat, it makes it much easier. I guess it's kind of like, when you first learn how to play an instrument, you have to be very by the book. But, once you know that instrument, you can start improvising, So, same here. And even then, my husband, I actually took off about, when we got married, he was about 300 pounds. As of February, he was almost at his, like, target, ideal weight of, like, 240. So that's about 60 pounds. I took 60 pounds off of him, feeding him, Kut Keto, essentially, breaded fried chicken, fried fish, all my floor pour stew with potatoes. Because the thing, a lot of these things, if you just look at the actual carb content, like we were eating like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, if you have a higher carb content, but it's not, super high, like 2 slices of like Walmart bread, and say what you will about, yeah, I know it's cheap, but when you're just figuring it out, you got to start cheap. Regular bread was like 13 carbs for 2 slices. I think that's like 13 or 26 carbs. Well, in a 150 carb scheme, that's a decent lunch, and then keep it low on the carbs for breakfast and dinner. And we were always having like, bacon and eggs and stuff like that, or sausage. So, it varies. You have more carbs early in the day and fewer carbs, or not early in the day, but you just have an ebb and flow just naturally, where some meals are just going to be more carb heavy, but also some meals are just going to be lighter on the carbs. Like, we would have bacon and eggs and maybe toast, but also maybe not, depending on how I make the eggs. If I make eggs Benedict, that's one thing. Because I love eggs Benedict. That's the one, yeah, the poachies, yeah. Because I love my Haagen-Dazs sauce. Love Haagen-Dazs. We're definitely going to have to do a Haagen-Dazs video. So yes. So yeah, there's an ebb and flow. of, you know, just because you load up on carbs at one part of the day doesn't mean you're not going to load up on carbs. You're going to load up on carbs later in the day. And as long as you kind of manage it, and once you kind of get kind of a regular diet and schedule and menu, you know, like, well, yeah, for lunch I always have, you know, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. But that's because for dinner, I never bother with rolls. Who has time to make rolls? Who has time to make I make a vegetable and a meat, eat it. You know, I don't have time for all those other things. By the end of the day, it's like you're lucky I was able to, you know, fry up the chicken in the first place. Never mind, it takes about 5 hours to do it, and the flour on the chicken is already negligible. Then you cut it with the almond flour, so you know the ebb and flow and stuff like that. So with this test, we're gonna see how it does. The biscuits did great. You saw in the video yesterday in my American oven here. It's either going to be called the American oven versus like a Dutch oven, because that is obviously nothing but American ingenuity, or it's going to be called the Bobby. But it's not a barbecue or a grill. But I just love saying, gonna put some biscuits on the Bobby. We might have to call it the Bobby. Yeah, even if it's not. Yeah, it might have to be the Bobby. Okay, all right, over now.